What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, we're going back down to Antarctica. Very fascinating place on planet Earth. We're going to look at what appears to be a 90-foot tall obelisk or monolith, however you want to describe it, which is next to a crash site. This is on the interior mainland, not on one of the exterior islands of Antarctica. I just found this a couple of days ago when Danny W. shared this location with me of what looks like a bizarre structure over here off to the left next to this crash site that I found while looking around down in this area. We're going to come back to this location and look at it much closer here in just a moment. But first, here at the website, checking out the Schumann resonance. All in all, pretty quiet. Most of the activity that you see on here, which is very little, can be traced back to solar cycle 25. Hopping over to the Yellowstone supervolcano right now, for whatever reasons, the link is not active. It's been that way for a couple of days, so I went over to the University of Utah, which you can also get Yellowstone data from here, and you can see there's been a swarm over the last 2 weeks, a collection of about 80 small earthquakes at the lake of the Yellowstone supervolcano caldera. Nothing major, as most of these earthquakes are very small, more than likely some sort of magma movement going on in this area. Not anything to necessarily worry about until we come over here and see large earthquakes and all of the seismos dark blue. I'd say we're in pretty good shape. Now back down to Antarctica, where I found what looks like a crash site next to a obelisk or monolith. It's a tall, narrow structure. I'll compare it to one of the latest monoliths that was discovered over in California, and you'll see similarities, at least with regard to its height and width. But first, this crash site. Danny W. shared this location with me of this monolith area, and it does look very, very interesting. And I got to looking around, and the more I looked around in this area, I noticed this big rut over here off to the right of this area where the monolith is at, and I measured it, and it's just over 1,200 feet long to that location. But if you get to looking and measure it all the way back to here, where it originates, it's over 2,000 feet long. It looks like to me something came in from this angle, from left to right, made a sweeping curve as it crashed into the snow, and you can see a trail of debris beginning here. See all the disturbance in the snow? The rest of the area around this track that you're going to see in the snow is, for the most part, undisturbed. Through here you see what look like parts, very disturbed snow, broken up chunks of snow. That there looks like a box. Definitely a perfect 90-degree angle. That doesn't happen too often. Go up through here. Looks like this area is just absolutely littered with debris. And then here comes this big rut in the snow. See that? I've worked on this area with multiple screenshots, and you're going to see that that is indeed a long rut in the snow that's over 1,000 feet long. Right here, it's very deep, or at least deep with comparison to the rest of the length of the track. It gets more shallow up here as it comes to an abrupt stop where there's an object sitting here at the end of this 1,200-foot long track. So we go from here to here, and you can see there's two objects here that you can see left an obvious rut in the snow. Actually, more than two. There's multiple objects there. Multiple objects here. Those could be round chunks of snow and ice, I guess. That right there is a very deep rut, and you can tell it dug out a fair amount of snow on both sides, even if we measure this area. Just side to side, that's 80 feet wide. 80 feet. Look at that. The rut itself, I have no way of knowing how deep it is, but you're going to be able to tell in some of the photos right here that I used to work on this area. This here looks like a cube that's got multiple 90-degree angles on it that's deep inside that rut. Here's parts up here of some sort. At least to me, they look like parts or some form of debris. Here's some more images that I worked on from this area. It's a long view of the track and the object that stopped down here at the end of the track. Very long rut in the snow. Got more to share with you guys. I did quite a bit of work on this area here. Here's a good view of it. Definite crash site of some sort. There's the object, or what's left of the object. There's the rut deep in the snow. Object there, multiple objects up here. And then just a trail of debris all the way down to that. whatever that is. I have no idea what it is. Something, though, definitely crashed in the snow here at some point in time. Don't know when. Here's a full view, almost a full view of the area, except back here where it turns. And you can see it comes in, goes deep into the snow here, and then ends down here just over 1,200 feet later. From this area, the entire area is over 2,000 feet long. Here's another view of this area back here. Like something came sweeping in and made a left-hand turn as it was falling apart. And this right here, see the 90-degree angle right there underneath my mouse? There's something lodged in the snow right there as well. I'll take another look. Let's see, I worked on several. Here's another look at the same area. Just made a few enhancements. Didn't alter it in any way, just to try to get a better perspective of what we're looking at here. There's what's left of the object. Kind of a unique shape. There's the deep rut in the snow, and then there's debris littered the entire length of that 1,200 foot long rut in the snow. So don't know what that is. I found it super interesting. Again, Danny W sent me to this area, to this location right here, which if you look around this area, the snow for the most part is undisturbed, except for something right here that's sticking up out of the snow. So I got to looking at it, and I also did some work on this one as well. And here it is, just simply turned around where you can see it vertically. The shadow is 120 feet long. The structure itself, whether it be this one or this one, there almost looks like two, is around 80 feet tall. And in fact, I'm going to show you the measurements myself right here. We're going to measure the shadow, and then we're going to measure the structure. Going from here to there, it's actually closer to 130 feet long, 128 approximately, based off of what we can see. Okay, so now we're going to measure the structure that's causing the shadow. It's in the neighborhood of 70 feet tall, between 70 and 75 approximately, based off of what we can see here. So we've got a structure right there that is casting some sort of a shadow on the ground. Here I measured it from the base way back here up to the top, which, it's close to 90 feet from that perspective. And then looking at it again from a little different perspective, there you can clearly see what looks like a solid object. It doesn't really look like anything else in the area. And then this is the shadow, because what I've done is simply inverted it. Light is dark and dark is light. Dark indicates a solid, and that's a shadow. And the shadow's over 100 feet long. So based off of that, let's say it's 70 feet tall. Could it cast a shadow, depending on the sun angle, 120 feet long? Yeah, and let me give you an example. Here's what I use to measure the sun shadow based off of the angle and position of the sun. This cylinder that I use to measure the angles at various times of the year, I always do it usually around the solstice and the equinox, is exactly, or close to, 24 inches long. That's what I use. You can see it right there. It casts a shadow. This was actually December 3rd. I went out and measured the shadow at noon, and the shadow was nearly 34 inches long. That was on December 3rd. And look at the shadow length on June 19th. This is around the equinox as the sun was getting ready to make its journey into the northern hemisphere. The shadow was just under 4 inches long. This was June the 19th right here. Over here on the right, December 3rd, a couple of days ago, the shadow has grown 30 inches in 167 days, basically. June to December. That's how long the shadow's grown. And that tells you that the sun has indeed moved to the south. But what I was getting at is a structure may be shorter than the shadow that it casts. So this could be 70, 80 feet tall, and it's casting a shadow 120 feet on the ground. And it's similar to what we're looking at over here in California. There's a monolith there, an obelisk. I think an obelisk has 4 sides, but this here appears to at least have 1. That's all we can see here, maybe 2. I'm sure it's probably got 3, but it's some sort of a structure, vertical structure, much like you see here. I've taken a still image of the location in Antarctica. I've flipped it 180 degrees. You got the structure standing here that's casting a shadow here that looks very similar to what we've seen in Utah, what we've seen in Romania, and also here in California. So how strange is it that we see a crash site? And not only that, it's a very obvious crash site. Something crashed into the snow here, left a deep rut in the snow, coming to an obvious rest right there, whatever it is. Have no way of knowing what that was, but you can clearly see that something left a 1,200 foot long skid mark in the snow next to a 70 to possibly 80 foot tall monolith or some sort of a obelisk in the snow in Antarctica. What a fascinating place. You got something there too that's kind of curious. You've got yet another very strong right angle, a 90-degree angle wedged in the snow. It makes you wonder if this isn't some sort of old outpost or something else going on here. But one thing is for sure, something crashed in the snow once again down in Antarctica. Thanks for watching. Have a super day and be safe out there.